お待たせをいたしました。まもなくですね、委員会を始めたいと思います。
We would like to start the commission soon. Before that, some housekeeping announcements. First of all, the first half we will have the commission. The second half will be the town meeting. In the first half, the meeting, people from NAIIC are observers. So in the first half, you cannot make statements. I hope you will understand. Concerning this commission and the town meeting, as we already informed you when the notice was sent, it's open to the public and it will be distributed live on the internet. So there is a possibility that you might be shot. I hope you will understand. You are kindly requested not to use your cellular phones. In this hall, the eating and drinking is prohibited. Dr. Kurokawa, please. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Based on the new law, passed in the National Diet, this is the National Diet of Japan Fukushima Nuclear Accident Independent Investigation Commission. You can't hear me? Based on a new law passed in the National Diet, this is the National Diet of Japan Fukushima Nuclear Accident Independent Investigation Commission. We are going to have a town hall meeting. And as I said before, there are people from media. And on our homepage, some people are watching us. And later, you will be able to see this in the video. We also have English simultaneous interpretation, allowing overseas listeners to listen in. We would like to listen to you today and how best we could reflect the investigation results in the report. That's what we have been thinking. Regarding this venue, we don't want to look down on you, and we really would like to listen to you, and possible we wanted to do that on the same footing, but I'm sorry that we are standing on the higher podium and more light is shed on here. In the town meeting, there will be more lighting available on the seats. I hope you'll understand that I'm in a way talking from this higher place on the stage. This is NAIIC, National Diet of Japan, the Fukushima Nuclear Accident Independent Investigation Commission. This is the 10th meeting. Allow me to be seated. This commission is shortly called NAIIC. Regarding today's meeting, we would like really listen to the town mayor Baba and the people from NAIIC town, so that we are holding this meeting here in Nihonmachi, where many from NAIIC have been evacuated and NAIIC municipal government has been located. First of all, concerning this NAIIC, some of you may not be familiar with NAIIC. How it is different from the Government Investigation Commission. Allow me to give you a little bit of explanation. As material number 1, can you refer to this? There are my greetings and the list of commission. It might be a little darker at your hands. I'm sorry about this. Regarding the major characteristics of this NAIIC, it is set international diet comprising the members of the representatives from the people. That's the characteristic of this NAIIC. The government also has its investigation commission. Last December, the interim report was already announced. I'm pretty sure you are familiar with it. Concerning our NAIIC, it's a separate entity. It's established international diet comprising these experts in the private sector. It's an independent investigation commission. I hope you'll understand. Establishing such a commission comprising experts from the private sector is first in the constitutional history of Japan, thus signifying the importance attached to this accident. This commission was established December last year. 3/11 saw the eruption of the accident at TEPCO Fukushima nuclear power plant. Our mission is fact-finding and prevention of recurrence and to make recommendations for future, so that we could compile a report. Investigation activities have been conducted with enthusiasm. We must find truth concerning the accident. We have to make recommendations for future. What's most important in these activities is to have a perspective of victims of this nuclear accident. To that end, in the very first meeting of NAIC, partly to study the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant, it was held in Fukushima at the end of January. From Futabamachi, we are invited to have a town meeting in Kazo City of Saitama Prefecture. Today we have this meeting with Namiemachi people, and tomorrow in Aizu Wakamachi we are going to have a town meeting with people from Okumamachi, so that those of you who are working during weekdays can participate in this meeting. We are holding these town meetings on weekends. We are very glad to have such a large turnout. Thank you so much. The other day we asked you to fill out the questionnaire sheet so that we could conduct a survey. We received so many responses. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you so much for your cooperation. We are currently tallying and analyzing the results of the questionnaire-based survey. In the free description area, some of you actually wrote your statements even on the back of the paper, coming directly from the heart. I haven't been able to read all of them, but I was extremely touched by what I read. I really must take it to my heart listening to you and investigating various matters. Now, as a witness, it's called a witness. As a witness, we have the pleasure of attendance by Mayor Baba from Namiemachi and many other people from Namiemachi about the 3/11 accident and about the evacuation situation. We would like you to share with us your comments and concerning the current situation and regarding the situation going forward. We would like to exchange our opinions. First, Mayor Tamotsu Baba of Namiemachi, if you could use about 20 minutes or so. Mayor, please.
Thank you. Thank you for the kind introduction. My name is Baba. I'm the mayor of the Namiya town. It is indeed a great honor to be called by the Japanese Diet, the NAIC, for the town meeting. And I would like to thank the members of the commission for coming to the Nihon Matsu city. As Dr. Kurokawa has said, we need to investigate and scrutinize what were the causes of the accident. And standing from the point of view of the citizens, if you could think about what should be the assistance and support to be given for the Namiye at the town going forward. And I would like to solicit your support. Let me try to give you a brief outline of the evacuation the process of our town. On March 11th, on 2:46, the big earthquake hit our town, and for a very long time, the oscillation or the shaking continued. That is what I remember. And then immediately after that, there was an alarm, an alert over the big tsunami to hit. And we have had the J Alert equipment installed in the municipal government office. And the J Alert have given repeatedly the alarm and warning that the big tsunami that may hit. And as we have tried to plan for the disaster preparation, that we should to try to guide the people for evacuation based upon the hazard map, and to have the public announcement to our citizens. And these things have been decided, and the staff of the municipal government, as well as fire department and the police department, we have asked the cooperation of all of those the people, and have started the guiding the people for evacuation. It was huge tsunami, and it was tremendous the damage caused to our town. And 184 people who have died because of the tsunami, and I'm still very sad and pained by their deaths. And against this backdrop, we had to guide all the other citizens to the evacuation centers, and we were spending the night at the evacuation center, and we were given indeed the great help, and there were the many lives saved, but because of the cold, and as the sun has set and it has become dark, it seems that the water levels were becoming higher. And we were engaged in the search and rescue activities, but I have a thought of the tremendous the damages. And on the next day in the morning, I have asked the self-defense forces to come in to have a large-scale search and rescue activities. And we have established we have established the headquarters, and we have completed a discussion at the headquarters for disaster the preparedness, and all the power for the power generation, the motor, being mobilized, and all the staff at the headquarters for disaster response. Everybody have gone sleepless, and they have stayed in the head office. On the 5:44 or the next day in the morning, the Prime Minister's office have told us that there was the nuclear power accident, and for the 10 kilometers radius that they should be evacuated, and that they should stay indoors, that they cannot come outside. And that was reported on the television, and I thought that this was indeed something very big, that it was something of the major the incident. And then already from the 12th, the accident has occurred, and for 3 kilometers range, there was instruction given for evacuation, and that has already started. But to us, there was no communication, there was no information coming to us at all. We never thought that the nuclear power accident was that huge, of that magnitude. We never imagined that was what was actually happening. The TEPCO and our town and the Fukushima prefectural the governments, the Citizen Safety Division, amongst the three parties, we have concluded the agreement for communicating on the safety back in 1998 amongst the three parties. And whatever an incident or event occurs, that communication must be made. And that was what was stipulated in the agreement. But even with the agreement, no information came to us at all. Nothing was communicated. But against this backdrop, as I have mentioned earlier, at 5:54 in the morning, the Prime Minister's office have given instruction that we had to evacuate, and on around 6 o'clock in the morning on the 12th of March, through the wireless, the communication, we have asked the citizens to evacuate to 10 kilometers radius zone. And then the citizens of our town have gone to schools and other public the facilities, the designated the locations that they were to evacuate. And all the citizens have gone to those evacuation locations, but no other information was coming to us. And we had to watch the television news to try to make the relevant decisions. At around 9 o'clock or 9:30 or 10 o'clock in the morning of the 12th, we had have come to think that it was indeed of very severe magnitude for the nuclear power at the plant. So at 11 o'clock in the morning, we have decided that perhaps we need to evacuate to the 20-kilometer radius zone rather than staying within the 10-kilometer radius zone. And we have once again had discussion at the headquarters for disaster response. And we have decided that we should have the municipal government functions to be moved to Tsushima, the division, or the outpost, about 27 kilometers out from the head office. And in the afternoon at 3 o'clock, the head office was closed down, and we have moved to the Tsushima outpost for the municipal government function. And we have informed this to all our citizens. And the transportation was so congested, and we have asked the citizens to move towards the Tsushima outpost direction. And up until today, it has been very long, the process of evacuation. And so the 3 o'clock of the 12th in the afternoon, that was the starting point for the whole process of evacuation. So I would like to have the NAIC, the members to please to fully understand the suffering and the difficulty that we had to go through.
And I hope that the NAIC will continue to make efforts in the elucidation of the truth. The providing of information was not made. Clearly, that is the case. NTT fixed lines broke down, and the mobile phone network was also disabled. These are some of the reasons. However, there are other communication methods that must be prepared for situations of disaster. I believe that there could be disaster. I found from everyone saying that the radio communication system was very useful. Therefore, I hope that this type of communication will be brought to bear in the future. And satellite telephone system is also another possibility. Technologies should be brought to bear to enhance the communication system. That is what I would like to see happen going forward. Furthermore, the accident, according to what I have heard regarding the accident, is that there was a lack of a crisis management. Because of the lack of crisis management, it led to a major disaster, a major accident. Therefore, crisis management, a manual will not suffice. It has to be put into practice by the responsibility of the national government. That should be the right way forward. I would also like to mention that when we were evacuating, the Speedy was not made available to us. And if Speedy information was made available to us, and if information was provided to us, other evacuation methods could have been contemplated. In hindsight, that is how we feel. And what I would like to request to NAIC is that the availability of Speedy or the lack thereof should be subject to elucidation of the truth. Yesterday, from the prefectural government, it was mentioned that the Speedy information was lost and the non-disclosure was explained to us. However, the knowledge or the awareness regarding Speedy was lacking. They did not have the ability to analyze the information. Data was not fully utilized. And to this point, I would like to say that investigation will be required. Now, in terms of crisis management, Mr. Tanaka, Mr. Shinichi Tanaka of the NAIIC mentioned that the nuclear government policies must be realigned, and the NAIIC as well as NISA should be integrated with a higher level of authority. Becoming an independent organization will be necessary. What is the problem is that there are fixed views, and the situation is such that the people in the nuclear administration was not able to admit that they were wrong. They were not able to disclose the information, and that is the reason why it has become a nuclear village, so to speak. So the regulation and the promotion is the issue. And people are talking about the establishment of the Nuclear Safety Security Agency. The promotion and regulation should be clearly separated. And regarding nuclear administration, there should be a responsible implementation of the policies. And to this point, I hope that the NAIC will make the appropriate proposal. On my part, I would like to emphasize that we're in a very severe situation still. There's 14,000 people in Fukushima Prefecture and 7,000 people outside of the prefecture subject to evacuation. In order to strengthen the bond with these people, we are trying to come up with creative measures. However, the nuclear power plant accident has destroyed everything, and we must recognize the importance thereof, and we must bring light. And also for the affected people, our views should be fully understood and shared, so that in order for us to pursue reconstruction going forward, I would like to ask for your continued support and cooperation. With that, I'd like to end my remarks. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we also have people other than the mayor, and we would like to listen to you. At the time, you held many positions, and we have many people. Other than the mayor, we have 6 people with us. Because of the time restraint, I'm so sorry to ask you to limit your time to 5 minutes per person, but please use 5 minutes each. First, Mr. Kazuhiro Yoshida, the chair of the Namie Town Assembly. I'm Yoshida. I'm the chair of the Town Assembly. Ever since the accident, together with mayor, for 60 days or so, I spent the same time almost packed in one place. I don't want to repeat what he had said. In the morning of 3/11, it was a commencement ceremony of the junior high school, and in the afternoon, about the quorum of the members of the assembly, we were deliberating that issue. And because of the earthquake, and we could see that there might be some disaster and there might be tsunami. So the meeting was adjourned immediately. After 3 p.m., the headquarters, disaster control headquarters were established. Several other members from the assembly and I were participating in a way observers at the headquarters. as part of the result of the training, the assembly or the members, once the headquarters of disaster control are established, instruction command should not be disrupted, and concerning disaster management, we were told it would be better not to meddle with what they would do. Only when we are consulted, we should make our statements known. That's our basic attitude. I don't want to replicate what he had said, but in the very morning of the 3/12, we were asked to evacuate from the 10-kilometer radius, and there are so many town people who really wanted to be rescued from tsunami. We were not able to rescue them. I really regret about it. In the afternoon of the 12th, we were planning to relocate the headquarters. We arrived there now past 6 p.m. There are many people who didn't even have drugs at Tsushima. And the Tsushima chapter, the outpost was so congested, so crowded, it was chaotic. Elementary school, the junior school, senior school, and in the public institution, the people were evacuated. So that was already 3 nights, 4 days. And there are many problems. I would like to be very brief about describing those problems. First, Speedy was not disclosed, and people were exposed to radiation. And Futaba, the police office and the NAIIC chapter, they were at the time in Tsushima. At the moment, they were already wearing the Tyvek suit, and many town people were really afraid to see that. And they wanted, I said there, we wanted you to take off that protective gear because that would really make the people uncertain. But then they said they couldn't because they may have to go back to the town. So I asked them to stay in that place. Also, we couldn't receive the aid because at the center we were able to come up with only 5,000 rice balls. The other centers providing food were all damaged, and we had 8,000 evacuees. 5,000 rice balls would not do to feed 8,000 people. People were very hungry at the time. And in Tsushima, the evacuees, there was no food, no gasoline, and of course no kerosene, and no blankets and no heating devices. It was a very difficult situation. 8,000 people were evacuated, at least temporarily. Toilets were one of the major problems. Firefighting brigade and the other tried to get the temporary toilets, and the city council workers also worked very hard. And I think the worst was Tsushima is actually 30 kilometers away from the Tsushima, the NAIIC power plant, but many people felt that since we needed the gasoline, we asked J. Futaba, and so that at the Tsushima gasoline stand we would be able to we wanted to get the gasoline, and we secured the tank lorry. One tank lorry, but the drivers wouldn't drive because they said they were afraid we couldn't get gasoline. And to Nihomatsu on the March 21st, when we decided to evacuate as a way to transport the evacuees, we made a reservation to rent 20 buses from Niigata, but then the drivers went back to Niigata. This is also another result of the damages from Rumo. There's another thing. In Fukushima, there were again the headquarters for disaster control. On the March 13th, I think it was about 10 p.m., the prefectural assembly members and I visited the headquarters, and we wanted to get more aid. Even if it's just one rice ball or one blanket, we asked for more aid. But the headquarters were not really functioning at all at the prefecture. Chaotic. On March 14th, the mayor and I once again went there to request more aid, but they were so chaotic, confused, nothing was done. At Nihomatsu, concerning this relocation of evacuees, the instructions from the central government and from the prefectural government. There was nothing. We couldn't get any aid. We somehow were able to get a bus to relocate evacuees. While we were at Tsushima, from Niigata Prefecture, we received the blankets carried by one truck. We appreciated that so much in Nihonmatsu, and the people from Nihonmatsu City were so warm to us. We were actually moved to tears. And the shelter was provided to Namiyamachi people, and we received a lot of aid while we were staying in the shelter, and some people even made the bathing available for us. There was so much hospitality that we cannot forget. And while we were trying to establish our temporary office, the municipal government here at the Towa chapter, the people from the Towa chapter worked 24 hours, worked so hard. They were wearing the boots because it was cold, and they were just using one blanket and then took temporary sleep. They worked so hard. Without their efforts, I don't think that we would have what we have now as the municipal government located here. March 21st, I think the 13 months and 10 days have passed since 3/11. The response has been so slow that the Namiyamachi people are so dissatisfied with, and this is really regrettable. As our assembly since June, we've been having a meeting with Namiyamachi people. 4 times within the prefecture one, out of the prefecture, outside the prefecture, we were able to see 1.8 thousand people. At the moment, we are holding a 5th meeting with the Namiyamachi people, and we are trying to really look into what was voiced to the prefecture, to the national government, and to TEPCO. Requests have been sent. Then we've been having the 14th round of the meeting. Every time we went there, the answer was all right, polite, but no action has been taken, and this is so disappointing. And as I reflect upon ourselves, we feel so sad. Namiyamachi and Futaba are faced with so many problems, and the Futaba County are faced with so many problems. Decontamination and putting the accident under control, and securing jobs, and disaster prevention, prevention of the recurrence. And also we have the problem of the destruction of community. We have to see some improvement. Health management, there are various issues, but direction has not really been shown. The interim storage facilities and also redrawing the exclusion zone have been requested, and that's really against what we would like to see. To reconstruction, recovery and reconstruction at Namiyamachi, reconstruction plan has been devised. And specific plans will be devised going forward. When can we actually go back? We can't even see that. But the nuclear accident has already been finished. It looks like there seems to be some kind of weathering. People are forgetting now. Until the very end, I would like to ask you to put yourselves into the shoes of the disaster-stricken people. And that's my request to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the Speaker Yoshida. Now, before having this meeting, I have been meeting with the mayor, and there were many different projects and programs and their relationship with the national government as well as prefectural government, and I have been able to understand what were the problems, and that as it was mentioned just now, more than 20,000 people who have been divided into 2 or even more locations. I can understand fully the suffering. Now I would like to ask Mr. Mitsuru Suzuki, who is the chairman of the Association of the Administrative Units. Thank you for the introduction. My name is Suzuki. I had a chair at the Association for the Administrative Units. Let me try to explain briefly how we have evacuated, what has been the process of evacuation, and I also would like to mention some requests towards the end. So on the 11th of March, there has been unprecedented earthquake that hit our community. On that particular day, because of the many aftershocks, I was staying in my company office, and I had to stay the night there. So the next day, on the 12th, from early in the morning, at my own house, I have been trying to clean up the furnitures and everything that was scattered by the earthquake. And then it was around 9 o'clock in the morning. The radio speaker for the town have announced that the radiation seems to be dispersed because of the nuclear power station accidents. There was an emergency announcement being made, and the evacuation was urgently being encouraged. And my family have listened to that announcement, and have left me. They have left some notes for me, and they have evacuated to Tsushima. But then on the number 14, the national highway, there was much congestion. As I have heard, towards the evening, in the Tsushima, the evacuation center, which is the division outpost of the municipal government, they have been able to safely arrive there. And because I was the deputy administrative unit, the head, I have tried to ascertain and confirm the safety of the citizens, especially the elderly people, because there were several people still remaining who didn't listen to the public announcement. So I have tried to confirm that the whereabouts, and have made some round for patrol. And I was a little bit delayed, but I have also tried to evacuate towards Tsushima. But then the traffic jam was continuing, even then. I thought that even though I may try to go towards Tsushima, it will be late in the night. So for that day, I have actually gone back and gone towards Haramachi district. And then on the 13th, from early in the morning, I have departed from Haramachi and wanted to meet with my family in Tsushima, and I have been able to do so safely. On the other hand, in Tsushima Evacuation Center, I stayed there for 2 days, and thank you for all the support. For the evacuation center in Nihonmatsu City, I have stayed there for 2 days, and I would also like to thank the city for their kind support. And outside of evacuation center, because it was a gymnasium, there was still snow piled up about 20 centimeters thick. It was very cold. And inside the gymnasium, there was just 1 or 2 stoves. So it was a very difficult situation, very severe situation. And food, only 1 rice bowl per person, or 1 piece of bread per person. And some have already passed their the shelf life. But still, the whole family was so glad at having this food being distributed. And my grandchild had a little bit of asthma, and my grandchild had a very strong cough, and my family thought that perhaps we should look for other evacuation centers, and we were discussing this. Tokyo have told us that she would like to welcome us over to her house in Tokyo, but then there was a severe shortage of gasoline, and we were quite frightened and afraid. But fortunately, my son, who lived in Nagano Prefecture, he may have heard of that, and he rushed to us, and he brought the gasoline with him, and we were so delighted. So on the 13th, the whole family, through the Baetsu motorway, through the snow in Niigata Prefecture, we were able to evacuate towards Tokyo. Up until the 2nd of April, for 16 days, we have stayed there. But then, because of my job, my work, from the 3rd of April, I evacuated and moved to Iwaki City, and I still stay in Iwaki City until even today. So I look back at what has happened more than a year ago. I was so sad that I have become this age, old age, and why would I be hit by such a tragedy? And let me turn to requests about the speedy information, the data for speedy, as Mayor has already mentioned. And as was reported in the newspaper yesterday, there was a big article to do with speedy. If we were able to be provided the speedy information, it may have been much better. We have stayed on 3 days in Hiroshima because we didn't have the information that the radiation was so dispersed and spread. And the children, they were not protected at all. And they were playing happily outside on the ground. And because we didn't have the speedy information at all, we were not warned at all. On the other hand, for Okuma Town and Futaba Town, from early in the process, information had been provided, and big coaches, big buses, several of them have been arranged so that they were able to evacuate at very early stage. I must say that it was quite irresponsible as to the response of the national government, that they were lax in their crisis management. I hope that NAIC would do the proper scrutiny into the process. And also the expressways, as well as national highways and prefectural roads. The infrastructure development has been too underdeveloped and delayed. So we had such a huge traffic jam, and for hours and hours we had to be exposed to the radiation. So if you are to think about the communities where the nuclear power plants are located, you should give a top priority to the development of the roads and highways, especially the access the roads for evacuation. And as there has been an advocacy made by the mayor that all the health care should be provided on free of charge basis, because we are quite worried that there could be the many occurrence of cancer in the future. I hope that the national government would think positively as to providing the necessary medical care on a free of charge basis. Now, lastly, the other day, Prime Minister Noda have mentioned about the Oi nuclear power plant. He has indicated for the restart of the nuclear power plant at Oi. I myself believe that it is too premature. It is too early to have such a decision to be made. For reactor unit 2, nothing has been done yet. And for the first the nuclear power station, nothing has been checked and investigated and verified yet as to the cause of the accident. And it seems that almost every day there has been troubles being encountered. The former Prime Minister Khan said that restart of nuclear power plants would never happen. He has given his word that it would never happen. So it seems that it is still very risky and dangerous, but still Prime Minister Noda at this early stage has already declared that the things have come under stability and everything is now being under a stable control. But what we would say as stable control and stability would be, everything would be quite convincing to us, and it will be fully a safe and secure life as we have done before the accident, and that we can go back to Namiya town eventually. National government as well as TEPCO would never to say anything public that would be disadvantageous to me. They would cover up. They should not cover up. To immediately to make public the relevant information to all of us. Once the nuclear power accident happens, then many people's peaceful life will be flashed away, and all the jobs will be flashed away. All of the ties and bonds of the community amongst the people would disappear. And I would like to ask all the municipalities who have a nuclear power plant sited and located, I very much hope that you would never ever experience the big tsunami that we here have experienced ourselves and the accident. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, from Namiemachi, Chairman of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Toshinori Matsuzaki, please. I'm from Namiemachi. My name is Matsuzaki. At the time of accident and after the accident, while we were evacuating, what was the situation like? That's the question I had. 3:11 last year, at the very early morning. 3:12 early morning, there was instruction of all the members from the chamber, evacuated. On April 1st in the same year, our Chamber of Commerce and Industry, from the Federation of the Fukushima, with their help, on the Adatara, on the second floor, with the Fukushima jointly, we were able to rent a room. Since November last year, our Chamber of Commerce and Industry, with the intervention by the on the Nihonmatsu, at the Adachi chapter, on the second floor, we have been able to rent a room. At the time, concerning our chamber, we needed to make sure that all the members were safe, and that was one of the biggest issues for us. In order to do so, from the members, we collected their cellular phones, and we tried to expand like amoeba, and like a network, and we were trying to find out the whereabouts of the people. Second, we sent a request to the TV station, to the viewers, to the members. We asked them to notify the chamber regarding where they were located during the evacuation. And to the newspaper within the prefecture, we asked them to run an article and kind of advertisement so that we could get that information whereabout. Third, we went to various events. We were hoping to see some members of the chamber and asked them to fill out the form so that we could get the addresses where they were evacuating. We were trying to find out where they were when they were evacuating. In the beginning of May last year, almost all the 600 members, the whereabouts had been identified. Last year, there are new members, including those new members who became members last year. As of the April 16th this year, 2012, of the 638 members, the evacuees within prefecture, the 440 outside of the prefecture, evacuees outside of the prefecture, that's 198. One person hasn't been identified. Evacuees within the prefecture, the largest ones, 125 in Fukushima City, Nihonmatsu, 75, Iwaki City, 56, Koriyama City, 41. Outside of the prefecture, highest number, they have been evacuated to Tokyo, 42, Chiba Prefecture, 25, Saitama, 23, Niigata Prefecture, 17. You could see the concentration in the Kanto area. 2012, April 16th, as of April 16th, in 21 prefectures nationwide, we can see our evacuees are scattered. To members of Chamber of Commerce and Industry, information has been provided. Twice the newsletters have been sent, and 3 times the survey had been done. And also we made the notification about the system for compensation. Meetings about the nuclear damage compensation meeting. This has been newly established. 5 meetings and the nuclear damage compensation explanation 1 and lecture 1, seminar 1. These have been held so far. But the damage compensation related to the nuclear power plant accident, 17 meetings to TEPCO and the government. The sessions were held. Currently, regarding the number of claims, damage claims about the nuclear accidents as of April 10th, in the first round, the number of claims out of 634 members, 428. In the second round, the number of claims was 346. In the third round, 156. In total, 514 cases we received remittance. As the Chamber of Commerce and Industry, to the government, we have to send again requests. I'm given 5 minutes. So I wanted to focus on 4 issues. First, the people in Futaba, until they can go back to their own towns. As a town, 20 to 30,000 people must be able to live. And we need to see the public accommodation. We would like the government to construct that public accommodation. Second, goodwill or other intangible assets. We would like to seek the compensation for those. Third, tangible assets, land and houses. Regarding the standard for damage, it should be a certain amount so that the people can acquire a new piece of land and structure. Fourth, those people who are forced to evacuate, the damage compensation for those victims, it should be the amount. It should be non-taxable so that people can restart their lives. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, I'd like to ask Mr. Kaloya of the Soma Futaba Fisheries Cooperative to speak. Thank you very much. Now, from the time the accident occurred and the evacuation is to be discussed by the request of NAIIC, I would like to give you account of what has happened. March 11th, at that time, there was a meeting at the cooperative office, and the meeting ended in the morning. And then I went to Ukedo, and then that was the time that I was hit by the earthquake. Now, I'm a fisherman, so I knew right away that the tsunami was going to come. So after the vibration stopped, I was going to Tsunaga. I thought my wife is at home, so I went home. And she was trying to clean up after the earthquake. And she was smiling, she was laughing. And I told her that we have to go because the tsunami is coming. So I put her in the car, and I went to around 20.5 kilometers away. I went to near the mountain foot, and I was relieved, and I came out of the car, and I saw it was like a black object. The sea looked as if it was smoking. It was a scene that was difficult for me to imagine, and I knew that it was going to be tsunami. And I was very close to the mountain, and I tried to go up, and I tried to pull up, but the tsunami overcame us. But actually, my leg was caught on by a tree, and I broke my leg. But I was swept away by the tsunami, and my wife was swept away, however. And I went up the mountain, but no one was there. And I tried to call for help. For about 10 or 15 minutes later, and he was a friend, a colleague, and he came 30 minutes later, and he asked me how I was, and we encouraged each other to go up the mountain, but it was very difficult for me to walk. So but it was very dark, and it was around 9 o'clock. So I gathered leaves, and I was going to keep warm. And then this person came back, and the water has now gone back to the ocean, so we will walk back, we said. And there was debris everywhere. It took about 1 hour, 20 minutes or 30 minutes walking through the debris. It was a Takase road, and I was able to reach there. And there was a police car as well as a fire engine. And then I went to the town hall, and I was able to stay there overnight. But I don't know how to explain. I didn't even feel the pain. I was just so worried about my family. But next morning, very early in the morning, I was told that we have to evacuate because the nuclear power plant is going to be very dangerous. And I went to the Haramachi, and I was told to be hospitalized immediately because my wife was missing. And it said that I don't want to be hospitalized. I want to go back because I want to look for my wife. But then I was told that I have to be hospitalized, otherwise I would have to have my leg amputated. And Minami-Somashi was also subject to the warning area. Was no entry zone, became the non-entry zone, restricted area, planned evacuation zone. And the first floor in the hospital was just full of commotion because there were so many patients, and they were not able to take care of me immediately. And then everyone started to evacuate, and there was no more nurses, and there was a number of doctors went down as well, and supplies were not coming to the hospital either. It was not functioning as a hospital anymore. And therefore, the better condition patients were now forcibly taken out of the hospital. But I had severe injuries. So I was there for about 6 days. I was hospitalized for 6 days. But the food situation was very difficult. It's only 1 rice bowl per day. That was the ration. And therefore, the hospitalized period was very difficult for me. And there were 7 people remaining toward the end, including myself. And from Shiraishi of the Miyagi Prefecture hospital was where I was taken to. But on 3 occasions, I thought I was going to die. So that is what happened. Now, in terms of fisheries, I would like to talk about that perspective as well. While I was hospitalized in the Miyagi Prefecture, and I think it was in April, and Prime Minister Kan said he said that the contaminated water is going to be discharged into the sea. And I was appalled because it is going to destroy the ocean environment, the sea environment. But I believe that Prime Minister Kan's decision was right, because with the helicopter they sprayed water, and they used pumps to spray the water to cool the reactor. And then the water level came up to such a significant level that if it was not discharged to the sea, the whole country or the whole of Japan would have been in a detrimental state. But we have been impacted very significantly because we cannot sustain our livelihood by fisheries. The fishery products in Fukushima Prefecture, fish market as well as nationwide, it was evaluated very highly. But now, in terms of we cannot have catch, we cannot distribute to the market. So this is a very tragic situation. However, I believe that this is unavoidable. But then, in December of last year, 150 liter contaminated water was once again discharged into the sea. And in March 26, 80 liters of contaminated water was discharged into the sea. And on the 5th of April, only 10 days or so, 12 tons were discharged, which are contaminated the water into the sea. But now, when it comes to that, the resumption of fisheries would be impossible. And the sea belongs not only to the fishermen, but it belongs to the citizens of Japan. This is Mother Nature, which is the sea. It is concerned that it is going to be completely contaminated. Now, on the part of TEPCO, they're creating tanks, they're building tanks. And on the site, they should construct tanks and place it there. But I don't think this can continue forever. So it seems that on purpose, deliberately, they are discharging the water into the ocean. So if this situation is to continue going forward, that would be very worrisome. And leakage from pipe or from the bending parts, there could be leakage. That can be explained. However, on the part of NAIIC, I ask you that please do not contaminate the water. It is not the final disposition site for radioactive materials. That's what I'd like to emphasize to all of you. In Namiyamachi, there is a coastal area, and there is also the inland area as well as mountains. And in the mountainous areas, the radiation level is very high. And the coastal area has low radiation. But in Ukedo, where we were living, the disaster situation in the coastal area seems to be forgotten by people. That is my concern. I have a significant concern in this regard. I've been told that my time is up. There's so much more that I'd like to share with you. But what I would like to say that Namiya city, Namiya town, had been impacted most adversely amongst all the cities in Japan. Many people have died in Iwate, Miyagi, and other prefectures. However, they have not been impacted by the nuclear power plant accident, but Namiya town has been impacted by the nuclear power plant accident and also impacted by the tsunami. The significant damage that have incurred. I don't think there are any other municipalities that share the same concerns as us. With that, I'd like to conclude. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Next, Futaba Agricultural Cooperative Director, Mr. Yoshihira Kikuchi, please. I'm Kikuchi. Thank you. I'm a director of the agricultural cooperative, but I was not a full-time worker. I was at Onouchi when the 3/11 happened. This was unprecedented, huge tremor. I thought that a big tsunami might come, but I didn't foresee the nuclear power accident. I went back my home. It took me about 1.5 hours. That evening, the aftershocks were awful. All the members of my family spent the night in a car. Because of the power outage, we couldn't see TV. We listened to a radio in a car. There was some information about earthquake, but no report about the nuclear power plant accident, as I remember, in the evening of the 11th. Futaba, Okuma, close to 100 buses arrived, and the evacuation was carried out in the midnight. I learned that later. 9 a.m. on the 12th, the communication wireless, alerted, and with instruction from the firefighting brigade, with my 85 mother, I took my car to Tsushima. At the Tsushima center, we received some aid and food. I think it was about speakers saying to Fukushima, the evacuation, please evacuate. I think that was right before the NAIIC power plant blow up, and all the vehicles parked at the center were headed to Fukushima. At the Fukushima North Police Station, we went there. And there was a place called Hokushin Learning Center, and that was the temporary shelter introduced to us. Regarding that shelter, the victims, that was for the victims from the earthquake, and we were accommodated in that center in Fukushima City. And since it was to be closed on the 18th, around 10 o'clock, my brother, who was living in Kawasaki, since my brother is in Kawasaki, I went to direction of Tokyo. The Nihonmachi, there is a center which gave us some tests about the exposure to radiation. And on the 18th, on the highway, there was a restriction of speed limit of 50 kilometers, but we were able to use the road at service area. We were able to fill up the tank in 2 places. That was very encouraging, and headed to Tokyo. At the Hasuda service area, I think they were hit by the so-called planned outages. Concerning my evacuation, there was lack of information, and the real problem was the lack of gasoline. As we arrived in Fukushima, the shelter, we had ample food supply, and also the heating-wise, there was no problem. But in the first 2 or 3 days, there was no water supply. We had a lack of water during that time, but the lack of gasoline was the biggest headache in my evacuation life. I'm the part-time director, and the agricultural corp suffered great losses. All the offices in Futaba had to relocate themselves, and JA within prefecture JA, and from the federation, we received a lot of support. Support center, call center were established in the beginning part of April, the first part of April, so that we could meet people's expectations. We were able to sort of improve our system. But 1 year has passed. During that time, the damage compensation for agricultural products as a contact organization, JA, has been exerting a lot of efforts. I'm in the agricultural sector. But when I was young, when I was in my 20s, I was engineer, computer engineer. I studied electric engineering 1966. The Unit 1 of 1960, the Fukushima Daiichi, I was able to observe the construction site of now Fukushima Daiichi. I'm one of engineers. But the emergency facilities were not really functioning, and so the high technology is really the worst hit at the time of an accident. We really must foresee, in a way, to prepare for this emergency, and with that in mind, we have to operate. Concerning this accident, it was the huge accident. There, at the forefront, people were in a chaotic situation and they were trying to respond to the situation. At the Chernobyl, there were so many victims. People had to risk their lives in such an extreme situation, but at the Fukushima nuclear power plant, I personally feel that it's thanks to people's efforts that we were able to stem the damages from spreading. To prevent recurrence, about the training. Disaster prevention training, it's the same for the fire prevention training, but training was in a way just for the training's sake. People just created a scenario and they just did their training just for their own satisfaction, which should have been more significant. If it had been more significant training, then we would have been able to respond to the accident better. And for instance, if it happened in the midnight, then there was the least people at the place, and then you have to foresee people coming on their foot. Concerning the disaster prevention training in the United States, in the crime, against the crime, the people expect many participants have already said, so I don't want to really repeat what has already been said. As a director of Agricultural Corp, JA, damage compensation concerning the agriculture products, we would like you to be quick. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Last but not least, I would like to ask Mr. Takashi Sato, who is the chairperson of the Namiya Town, the PTA Liaison Council. Thank you. My house was in the Tsushima district, and we have 6-member family. And the children were in the first year of the senior high school, first year of junior high school, and the fourth the grade of the primary school. Up until the 14th, from the 12th to 14th, as the member of the civil, the fire, the team, I was trying to receive the people who have been evacuating. There are many parents looking for their children. Because many parents were still working in the workplaces, and many children have directly evacuated from schools. And because cell phones were down, and there was no able to communicate, and as the evacuation instructions have changed so frequently, they had to move from evacuation center to different shelters. And after a week or so, at last, there were many children who were able to meet with their parents. And during that time, I'm sure the parents were so worried out of their wits. And the children must also have been so worried. So I can truly imagine the suffering that they had to go through. In the Tsushima district, in the junior high school, on the evening of the 12th, the iodine, which were stockpiled, has arrived, but we did not know the dosage that they needed to take. And we have asked the parents whether they had the information on radiation. If the information were given in advance, we could have asked the parents to come to the schools to have the iodine so that the children will be able to consume the iodine. But then were explosion at the nuclear power plants on the afternoon of the 12th, and they wanted to evacuate even farther away. And after hours and hours that they have at last been able to arrive at Tsushima evacuation center, it was a chaos. And I had to work as a civil firefighter, and my wife was also working. And as the information was so intertwined and so mixed, and they're being given on cross purposes, so that we had to continue evacuation until the morning of the 15th. And as instruction was finally given, we evacuated to Koriyama City on the 15th. And I'm sure this was the same for everyone. We thought that only 3 days or at the longest a week will be sufficient enough for evacuation. The national government's instruction at the time, for the 20-kilometer zone, outside of the 20-kilometer zone, then you could evacuate. But then after that, they should stay inside. But then, if we have followed instruction, we have been severely exposed to radiation. So they have totally ignored the citizens and protecting the citizens. And against this backdrop, because there was minimal information, on the 15th, all the citizens of the town have been decided to be evacuated. So we are indeed grateful to the decision taken by the municipal government. And after the evacuation, the primary school and junior high school students, because they were compulsory, the education, the process, they were to resume their schools. In the early April, the schools were to be decided which schools that they should go to. So the response was quick. But I myself had a difficulty. But it is true that I was able to be reassured that the schools were decided. But the early April, everything was chaotic, and we were still in the process of evacuation. As a consequence, we decided on a school close to the evacuation center, but there were many children who had to change their abode because the schools finally, when it was decided, it was too far away. And then, even though people wanted to come back to Fukushima, they had to change schools, and they will have to go through an alien environment once again, so they were not able to decide. And eventually, they decided not to come back. So there was a lot of chaos. In any case, as I look back, as to the process that we have gone through for evacuation, we never had enough the time or the leeway to ask the wishes of the children. So the children were sort of scrambled away with their parents, making the rush decision. And I'm sure they have been traumatized. And many children still, I'm sure, feel the trauma. So all the damages being incurred for the children, I hope that the NAIC will be able to properly investigate everything. On the 22nd of April, Iidate village and the Yamakiya the district right next to that, there were being decided to be the planned evacuation zone, deliberate evacuation area. And they had to go through the process of evacuation. We have thought that we will not be able to go back 1 year or 2 years. And my own house were under the very high level of radiation, the dose levels. So I thought that I may not be able to go back at all. So, but I have decided that I would not relocate anymore. And we have rented the house, and we have all the 6 members of the family living there. And now, in order to prevent the accident and how to minimize the damages. Now, in the accident, everyone talks of that it has been unexpected, totally outside of the design, the values. But I do to feel that it is difficult that if you are to think about the totally unexpected, but it does happen. And with the children and the children of their children, our grandchildren, our descendants, think about the future as our own responsibility. What cannot be stopped means that we should never ever have actually built such a facility. And we should think of a lifestyle that would be able to be free of nuclear power plants, that we can go without any nuclear power plants. And if NAIC makes a proper investigation, I believe that would be the only answer that you would be able to arrive. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Although we're running out of time on the part of the chair, I'd like to say a few things. I'm sure you are aware of the fact that you have suffered greatly. There was major earthquake, tsunami was expected after that, and then the nuclear power plant accident. But according to what I have heard, in Namie, there was a case that TEPCO and Fukushima Prefecture have served as an intermediary, and there was a communication agreement 10 years ago. And even after the earthquake occurred, this committee, what was they doing in terms of, based on this agreement? On the part of TEPCO, the PR, public communications, would say that in the nuclear reactor, they dropped a band-aid or dropped the spanner which is used for construction. So on a daily basis, this information is provided to us. Every time an event occurs, they would come to us to provide a report. If that is the case, in the absence of such an event, was it a daily report? In the absence, well, I don't think there was any day that nothing occurred. Every day something occurred. So you had daily contact with them in terms of reporting. Yes. Yes, well, I would say that there was reporting. Even one band-aid falling was reported to you. Thank you very much. And if that is the case, from this major accident, did they come to report to you immediately? No, but when at this crucial moment, there was absolutely no information provided to us, absolutely none. And I have heard later that the civil works, Tomioka works at the prefecture exists, and at the 311, when the prefectural roads were destroyed, the staff was not able to communicate using telephone. So each prefectural staff went to the construction workers' office, and they got together at the Tomioka office at 7 o'clock in the morning, and they have reported that this meeting is going to be held. So when the accident occurs, they should come by walking on foot from Okuma town. They could have come and reported to us.
Depending on the situation, things could change so drastically, don't you think? Well, yes. Employees of TEPCO, of course they cherish their lives, don't they? Well, I understand. But regarding those people, at the evening and also after the midnight at NAIIC nuclear power plant, many things happened. And evacuation, and there's a release of radiation. Where did you learn about those things? As I said before, TV from Prime Minister's office on the 12th morning, 5:44 a.m. 5:44 a.m. Then there was the information about the accident within the 10 kilometers radius, stay indoors. That was a broadcasting. That was the very first time. So that was by TV. As to how and ways concerning the transportation network, because of the earthquake, it must have been difficult for you to grasp the information about, for instance, bus. Any information about the transportation means? No, not at all. Not from TEPCO, not from central government, not from prefecture. There was no information about the earthquake. So when it comes to the arrangement of bus, we couldn't do that. What about TEPCO? How TEPCO employees evacuate? What about TEPCO employees? How did they evacuate? To protect themselves, I think they evacuated. How? How did they evacuate? One rumor says that they took bus. But there was no information coming through that liaison meeting. But the liaison meeting function, it didn't go away. Any communication to you, Mayor? When did you get information from the liaison committee? After the accident, they apologized to us on the May 4th. Mr. Shimizu, the former president, last May 4th, he officially paid a visit. And before that, Mr. Tsutsumi, the vice president, that was at the end of March. At the end of March, he apologized to us, vice president. But there was information given to him. It was just a drop of a band-aid. Now the the telephone lines are right about concerning the situation, or to address various concerns. Not just a telephone call.
Now about the contaminated water, that there's a leakage, contaminated water. They would tell us after they have publicly announced to the media, and that was done on a daily basis. But then you have also mentioned about Speedy. So you were trying to evacuate, as you have explained. Everything and everyone was in confusion. And more recently, there has been some report on the Speedy. But for the radiation, you were in places where the radiation was at very high dosage levels. When did you learn about this fact? Anything to do with radiation, I believe it was towards the end of March. At Fukushima University, the deputy chancellor of the university came to the Towa branch office, and he told us that his research team went by car to do some monitoring for radiation, and they found very high dose levels. And that was the very first time we have learned of this. And then the media has come up with report after report that the dose levels were measured and the information was provided by the media. But until then, almost all the information that was taken from the television, right? Yes, it was mostly from television. Okay, fine. Now we should go to the next step, to the next part of the meeting. And I would like to ask the Secretary General to explain for the proceedings from now onwards. Yes, this is the end of the NAIC committee meeting, and we would like to break for 10 minutes. And we will start from 14:35, 2:35 to start the town meeting. Thank you. So this is the committee or the commission meeting. So the commission's meeting will end here. And now we will start the town meeting after the break. And those witnesses who have given their statements at the NAIC, the commission meeting, please speak up during the town meeting as well. I would like to thank the Mayor Baba and all the other witnesses for the valuable input. I'm sure you must have been frustrated because of the time, and you had to remember everything. And we would like to value your reports and statements from the point of view of the victims. Now, as I have mentioned at the outset, tomorrow we will have the 11th the NAIC meeting in Aizu-Wakamatsu City, and we would like to hear from the witnesses from Okuma, the town. So this is the 10th the NAIC meeting, and we would like to adjourn the 10th the NAIC the meeting. So after the break, we will have the town meeting. So 10 minutes break, right? Okay. After 10 minutes break, we will start the town meeting. Thank you. I would like to thank everyone for participating and observing the 10th NAIC meeting, and I'm looking forward for your further intervention during the town meeting. Thank you.